Hey guys, it's Lisa from Taste of Home. I'm here with Joanna Gaines' cookbook, Magnolia Table. She's got a recipe in here for buttermilk biscuits, and since I love biscuits, I knew I had to give them a try. Let's see how they taste. All right, so we're gonna start off here with 4 cups of self-rising flour. So that is just regular all-purpose flour, and then it's a little bit of salt and baking powder is added to that. And it's a really good shortcut ingredient. It's used actually a lot in biscuits and some southern cooking. To that, you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of baking powder and then a teaspoon of baking soda. And then you can just whisk that together quick. And once you've done that, you're gonna add 3 sticks of cold butter. This is cubed up. You want it to be super cold because like a pie crust, you really want it to be flaky. So we're gonna kind of follow that same procedure and cut it in with the pastry blender until you get kind of tiny pea-sized chunks. This is gonna take a little while. It takes a lot of elbow grease, but if you just keep at it, you'll get there. Some people like to use their fingers too and kind of pinch it together, but I like the pastry cutter because it keeps your hands off of it and it keeps the butter really cold. All right, that looks pretty good to me. It's all about pea-sized, so it took a while, but we're finally there. And then next you're going to beat up 2 eggs. Those right to your dry ingredients and butter. And then you can just start to mix that in a little bit with a wooden spoon. And then you're gonna add in 1.5 cups of buttermilk. And that gives the biscuits like a really good rich flavor. Just stir this in. It's gonna be a little bit sticky. So one thing I really love about this recipe is that Joanna writes in her book that it took her a year to perfect this recipe. And I know what that's like because I'm always trying to find a better chocolate chip recipe, and I know it can definitely take a year or more to do that. All right, so when your batter is done, or your biscuit dough is done, it's gonna be pretty sticky, it's gonna be kind of gloppy looking, but that's what you want because you still want the butter to be in big chunks so it gets nice and flaky in the oven. And if you really want to make sure it's all kind of combined, you can kind of give it a go with your hands quick. Just make sure all that flour isn't stuck on the bottom of the bowl. All right, now it's all done. It smells amazing. I love the smell of buttermilk. I know it's gonna taste so good when it's in the oven. So you're gonna start by kind of flouring up your work surface because that dough's super sticky. And you're gonna turn out your biscuit dough onto your countertop. And with a lot of biscuits, you kind of fold them over and over and over again until you get the layers, but with this biscuit recipe, you actually really don't need that. So Joanna says just to kind of, I think she uses the word smush. That's definitely right. Just kind of smush this out into about a 1/2 inch layer. You can still see all those big butter clumps, which is exactly what you want because that's going to give you flaky biscuits. And then next you're going to start to cut out your biscuits. I have about a 2.5 inch biscuit cutter here. If you don't have a biscuit cutter, you can just use a glass or a small bowl and just flour up the edge so it doesn't get stuck. And then you're just gonna cut your biscuits. And you can start to arrange them on your baking sheet with a little bit of parchment paper. And they can be pretty much right next to each other. Joanna kind of does this as like a batch bake is what they're called when they're. I don't want to waste anything, so I'm going to kind of roll and smush this dough and get a couple more biscuits out of there. You don't want to do this too many times, maybe just once or twice, because you don't want to overwork the butter and make it all melty, and then you won't have flaky biscuits. Then you're going to put a little bit of an egg wash on top, so you're going to need 1 egg. And then a couple tablespoons of buttermilk. I think I've got about 2 tablespoons in there. And then you're just going to take a pastry brush and just kind of wipe it over the top of each of your biscuits. This will give them kind of a nice shine when they come out of the oven. All right, and then you're going to pop them into a 400-degree oven for 15 to 20 minutes. Just keep your eyes on them after about 15. All right, it's been about 20 minutes and they look perfectly golden brown. You can see, look, all the flakes there on the side, all that nice cold butter. Just like, look at all that. Oh, it's gonna be really good. All right, so now that they're done, look how nice and flaky they are. They're just gonna like flake and pull apart. It looks so good. I like to top mine with honey. I like these because they're so delicious, and I love that buttermilk flavor. I also love that it's a huge batch. I think this made, over a dozen biscuits, and I have a huge family, so I know this is the perfect thing that I can bring with me to any sort of family dinner or Christmas or holiday or birthday party. People are gonna eat them up and there are gonna be no leftovers.